Good afternoon, everyone. This is Matt McGonigal with RetireCo. Just wanted to thank you for joining us here today for our presentation of Selling Cyber. Presentation will begin shortly here. We're going to allow just a few minutes, make sure everybody can join that'd like to be here. See a number of you still logging in, connecting to audio. Going to allow a little additional time for that. We should be started about 2-3 minutes past the hour. Appreciate your patience. Good afternoon, everyone. This is Matt McGonigal with RetireCo. I want to thank you for joining us here for today's presentation of Selling Cyber, designed to be really an introduction to what we would call next generation cybersecurity. Do appreciate everyone's patience as we get started here. See a number of you still kind of logging on and connecting to the audio. Going to allow just another minute or two to make sure everybody can get connected, but our goal is always try to have you off by about 1:30. 2:30 Eastern time, so just about a half hour or so. We will have a short survey poll that we kind of launch towards the end. Appreciate if you take just 30 seconds or so, complete that for us, just so we can know kind of who's on, how we're doing with everything. And again, I thank you for being here today, and we will be started just about another 1-2 minutes or so. Thanks again. Good afternoon again, everyone. This is Matt McGonigal with RetireCo. I want to thank you for joining us here today for our presentation of Selling Cyber. This is going to be an introduction to what we call next generation cyber risk management. With that said, I'm going to allow just about 30 more seconds here, make sure everybody can get connected to the audio that'd like to be here. Then we will get started. As always, promise to have you off within about just under a half hour or so here by 1:30 Central, 2:30 Eastern. So again, appreciate your patience. We'll be starting here momentarily. Good afternoon, everyone. This is Matt McGonigal with RetireCo. I want to thank you for joining us today. This is our Selling Cyber webinar. This is designed to be an introduction to what we would call next generation cyber risk management. With me, as always, for these presentations, my co-host, Stephen Legg. Stephen is the CEO at Antigen Security. And with that said, just again, want to thank everybody for being here. What we hope you'll take away from today's presentation is just kind of a basic understanding of the fact that the insurance world, particularly cyber liability and cybersecurity technology, products, controls themselves, have been kind of destined to be on this collision path as our carriers are started recognizing the need for really proactive controls put in place. Proactive security measures must be put in place in order to actually even issue a standalone cyber liability policy. So what we're talking about today is really unlike anything you've seen before. It's designed to be truly a two-part solution for your customers, an opportunity for you to be really the first in your community to deliver what we call a really sought-after solution, and that would be kind of a combination of necessary cybersecurity controls and a technology platform, as well as a standalone cyber liability. The beauty of this is once those cybersecurity controls are put in place, this coverage is basically guaranteed, along with a whole host of other benefits and features, which we're going to dive into. With that said, I'm just going to go ahead and turn everything over to Stephen.
Hey, thanks, Matt. And hi, everybody. I'm Stephen Legg, CEO and co-founder of Antigen Security. So let's dive right in. Those of you that have been around this world or have had any experience with it know that in the past, a lot of people that said they had cyber insurance had like a small cyber rider. They had, varying levels of security maturity, and carriers didn't even really scrutinize them too much in terms of getting coverage and meeting any kind of requirements to get that coverage. And there was no real knowledge required to sell either of those things because it was just kind of a throw-in or an add-on that didn't really solve the problem, but at the same time, both the customer and the agent probably didn't understand it super well. So it was all kind of water under the bridge. Well, now, fast forward to today, claims are being denied at higher rates than ever because of compliance and attestation issues related to meeting carrier requirements. Premiums are increasing because carriers are struggling to keep up with the rapidly evolving threat landscape and threat actor activity out in the world. And those technical requirements as a byproduct and result of that are getting to be more comprehensive, difficult to achieve, and that ultimately turns folks off to getting insurance at all. So why would they want to get cyber insurance in the first place? Well, the average cost of a ransomware claim to an SME is around $500,000. And all of these costs and items on the right side here are just a handful of the things that contribute to that cost. That cost is incurred about once every 3 years. If they don't have insurance, that cost is coming out of pocket. If they do have insurance, that cost is split between them and their carrier. But the general consensus is today, for any of you that have had a customer go through a claim with a traditional cyber insurance carrier, those claims are not an easy road to resolution. They're often complicated. They require engaging a lot of different parties very rapidly, and that just doesn't typically happen all that often. So you have customers that could be waiting 2 to 5 days or weeks to get everything they need rolling in the face of a breach. And those companies, if they get to the end of that road after waiting all that time, understandably, are not going to be too happy if their claim gets denied because they didn't implement MFA everywhere or didn't meet some other requirement that they signed off on having when they signed up for the policy. That stat alone, about one in 4 first-party claims were denied last year due to those specific types of issues. And ultimately, if you don't have these conversations with customers and help customers understand their cyber risk at a business level, somebody else will. Really, that kind of brings us to, what has changed? What is so different today that wasn't, years ago? And I think the best way that I can explain this is to talk about a different kind of insurance and the journey that insurance took. So if you look at the auto insurance market as an example, as that market and automobiles themselves evolved over time, it went from, no requirements to very stringent requirements on the safety and anti-theft measures that need to be in place to have appropriate and well-rounded insurance coverage on a vehicle. Conversely, in the world of fire insurance, you can't get fire insurance without smoke detectors, fire extinguishers, suppression systems, and all the other things that are needed to ensure underwriting requirements are met on that side of the house. So why is it that in the past, and even today still with some kind of less hip carriers out there, why is it still that you can receive a cyber insurance policy without meeting any sort of requirements or showing that you manage proactively your cyber risk in a reasonable way that directly addresses what carriers should be caring about? The answer to that is that it has changed, and carriers have started realizing this, and that's why they're working with us and the team at RetireCo to bring this to market to help solve this problem, both for insured as well as for themselves. But when we talk with brokers about this problem in particular, what we hear a lot is that they're frustrated with the difficulty of procuring that coverage. They don't like how difficult and the length and complexity of that application process. They could have back and forth with underwriters for weeks on different responses, and it becomes a very difficult exercise that folks with no background in cyber risk really will struggle to meet, which ultimately makes them upset that they really can't be a cyber risk advisor despite being a risk advisor for lots of other areas of the business. And ultimately that drives them to be concerned that maybe if I can't offer these things, then they might go to a competitor who is going to bundle all these things together, or at the very least get them the coverage they need to be protected. And the solution is, fortunately, completely designed to solve this. So with this antigen cyber type membership, brokers are able to provide their clients right-sized coverage that's based on the specifics of that business and what they are lacking or already have in place. They're guaranteed to get approved for coverage as long as they agree to follow the guidance provided by their agent or broker. That's you. With that membership, rather than having to go through a lopsided and disconnected or disjoined claim process, the very folks that are going to be servicing those claims already know them, are engaged with them, and are actively either managing or managing in parallel with their existing providers these security and cyber risk management systems that those carriers are ultimately requiring anyway. And now, as a result of all of that, you're able to provide something so unique and so value added to your customers that they literally cannot get this anywhere else but you. And that's a great result for you as the broker or agent. So what is it? I like to say that the Antigen Cyber Titan membership is a membership that's all about meeting customers where they are on their cyber risk journey, understanding how they're complying with carrier requirements and industry standards, and aligning their roadmap ultimately with those standards and with those carrier requirements in a way that reduces the cost of serious incidents of breaches by 90 to 100% on average, and makes them around 6 times less likely on average to experience a serious incident of breach in the first place. That significant material decrease in the severity, impact, and frequency is why those carriers really care and empower these membership programs, and also why customers are very interested in achieving them, because, as you can see, the benefit is full circle. It's great for the carrier, it's great for you, the broker and agent, it's great for the customer. Everybody gets what they need ultimately, and you meet those customers where they are and wrap the membership around everything that they have in place and put in place the things that get them to that enterprise class cyber risk management program. So these are just some of the approved enterprise solutions and participants in this program. This is not an exhaustive list, and I'm not going to go into detail on any of these. All I'll say is that what happens as a result of this process and the assessment that we'll ultimately talk about in a few minutes here, that we provide to you as a broker agent for free to utilize with your customers and potential opportunities, really allows them to pick from a menu of solutions like this that puts them in a position where no matter what choice they make, they're getting bona fide enterprise security managed by enterprise security researchers and teams that truly know how to apply these solutions in a way that is going to be carrier approved and going to be approved in the result of a claim. Let's talk about the sales process a little bit. And I'm going to give it over to Matt to talk a little bit more in detail about on this side of the house.
Absolutely. Thanks, Stephen. Appreciate that. And, I think that analogy of the comparison of, the fire insurance, for example, is really something that's pretty powerful. And I think everybody on the call can probably understand and appreciate that. It's, the insurance industry in general is starting to recognize the need for these proactive measures being put in place. And the Cyber Titan membership itself ensures that those businesses have all of those controls in place, and then they have the ability to purchase the coverage they need. So this is really a kind of two-step approach, creating two new sales opportunities for you. And I think it's really important just to understand what that looks like if you're to engage one of your customers. The first part would be completing a comprehensive cyber risk assessment. So this is an opportunity to gather some very basic, very simplified data. It's something you can do with the customer yourself. It's something they can do on their own using a secure link. It can all be done online. It's very simple data that's going to get plugged in, answers to relevant information that they should have. So again, this is not a terribly deep dive into any of their IT. The next thing they're going to do is they're going to receive a roadmap for guaranteed carrier approval. So again, this is going to be an actual checklist, bullet point list of everything that customer needs in place for guaranteed carrier approval. The customer then has the opportunity to buy and implement controls for those gaps in the carrier underwriting requirements. And again, this is where the CyberType membership is fantastic, being that it'll actually work around or kind of meet that customer where they are with any existing controls they might have in place. So again, this is going to kind of close those gaps to ensure they meet all of the insurance carrier's underwriting requirements. Customer now is going to receive that Antigen Cyber Risk Guarantee. They are ready to go. At this point, for all of those controls that have been put in place, delivered through Antigen, as a broker, you're going to receive compensation for that sale. So this is a new source of revenue for you. It's an opportunity to generate revenue from the sale of that security stack. And again, this is ability for you as a risk manager to be compensated for helping that customer put a risk management solution in place. And in this case, that's in the form of these cybersecurity controls. So again, that's one opportunity for compensation. That's available to everyone on the call, life and health or PNC license. Again, so everyone can engage with Antigen through RetireCo and have the opportunity to sell those services and generate revenue for yourself. Once that's completed, your customer is now eligible for standalone cyber liability insurance. This is coverage that our industry really hasn't seen before. This is significant, serious cyber liability coverage that a lot of your customers might be asking for and simply have never found a solution for it, short of a very small rider or an add-on to a policy, for example, that provides very little, if any, coverage. And as Stephen alluded to, more than a quarter of the time, those claims are denied anyways. So again, this is the opportunity for your customers to have true standalone cyber liability that actually matches their business, the number of users, the number of servers, the number of IT assets, right? So again, this is a unique take on this type of cyber risk that they're trying to mitigate and manage. As a broker, once they're eligible for that coverage, you have the ability to obviously renew or replace existing coverage, or obviously offer a brand new cyber liability policy. So a lot of different opportunities to engage with your customers, even your existing customers, and deliver something brand new to them. The broker can then request that cyber liability quote, also done online. They provide that quote just like you would with any other product that you might have out there, and the customer can ultimately purchase that cyber liability policy. This is where you have an opportunity for your second sale. So again, there's additional compensation, of course, for the sale of that cyber liability policy. So if you're P&C licensed, you're receiving comparable compensation to your other commercial lines. If you're life and health licensed, we have some referral fees and things that are available where it's permitted by state carrier, so on and so forth. So again, 2 new sales for you, 2 brand new sources of revenue from products and risk management tools that you did not have available to you last year. So again, if you're in that commercial space right now, or you work with a lot of business owners, this should be kind of a light bulb moment going off, recognizing, wow, I can go out and complete this free comprehensive cyber risk assessment, and I can see where that takes my customer on this journey, and they may ultimately buy 2 new solutions from me tomorrow. So again, don't miss out on the fact that this is readily available and something brand new, not only to you as a broker, but also to all of your customers. This is something they will have seen elsewhere. With that, you now have the antigen cyber risk assessment and the details of specifically how this process works. For that, I'm going to turn it back over to Stephen.
Thank you, Matt. So the cyber risk assessment is relatively simple. You perform that initial assessment that can be done online or if the customer or you prefer an in-person touch over the course of about a 30 to 60-minute discussion. Those results get reviewed and the reporting gets generated. That reporting is used to present to the customer, during which you talk about the gaps that they have and a number of other things, which we'll get into in a moment. And then the goal of this is to have them go through this assessment process each year so that they can demonstrate progress both to their carrier as well as their board or executive team, and really adjust for any changes in the market, in the cyber insurance world, and with threat actors or techniques that are happening out in the threat landscape. It gives you that kind of future-proof, always, finger on the pulse approach to this problem that really differentiates you from others in this market. And so ultimately, the cyber risk assessment is going to produce a couple of pieces of data that are useful for those customers to understand. The first is going to be their total cost of a serious cyber breach or incident. So and this is not a cost that has been generated by researchers, using conceptual numbers. These are numbers both for the cost of breaches as well as what companies are really paying in their demographic size and otherwise for their total cyber risk management, including insurance, all based on actual relationships, over 3,800 of them, insurance claims, and a number of other factors that are used to collect and aggregate all of this data so that we can be as accurate as possible. And ultimately, those 2 numbers are used to help provide context to this figure on the right, which is how much risk that they're accepting today versus how much risk they're accepting. Obviously, if they're accepting a larger portion of their risk, that number on the left is going to be a far more likely outcome for them versus a situation where they're addressing more of their risk. And so as you go through and explain and kind of talk to them about this, you as their advisor can spell out, hey, these numbers actually come from these places. So on the cost side for a serious breach or incident, you're going to be looking at things like customer breach notifications, post-breach customer protection for identity and other related privacy issues, regulatory fines and fees, and the list goes on. Conversely, on the flip side, on the carrier requirements and what organizations in their demographic size and otherwise are actually investing to sufficiently deal with these challenges, are all of these areas of maturity and potentially more depending on their size or risk profile, to help them understand really kind of what this complete picture should look like. And just to provide a contextual example, if a customer this size, so around 500 endpoints, not the biggest company, not the smallest company, 500 endpoints, those five things in terms of the total stack cost would be around this $206,000 number, of which you can make up to 22% of that annual contract value as the broker or agent that brought that deal to fruition. So I'm going to give it back over to Matt to talk about some of the marketing and sales resources that are available.
Excellent. Thanks, Stephen. And obviously, hope all of you, even just from that last slide, can really recognize that we have built the cyber security, kind of that stack or that suite of tools for compensation that's very, very similar to what you might find in a commercial sale. So again, you have really fantastic opportunities to generate those two new sources of revenue, both of which are extremely competitive and unfound and unknown before. So again, really, really a fantastic opportunity for you as a broker to add some great new revenue streams to your business. And let's be frank, these are revenue streams that are not likely to go anywhere because this is not a solution that these companies are finding elsewhere. And these are two-part solutions. You must have the controls in place in order to qualify for the coverage. If the controls are working and providing what you need to qualify for that coverage, you're going to continue with those services as they adjust and as they change as part of that ongoing annual assessment. So again, we make it really, really easy for you to engage with your customers. First thing you're going to find is in our RetireCo dashboard, if you're already a RetireCo agent, a lot of you probably are on the call today, we have an entire dedicated series and system built purely around the engine security side. So you have dedicated CRM to help you manage those relationships. We have training tools in there. We have marketing materials that are available. These are powerful, compliant, across really all media. I'll touch base on a couple of those here in a moment. We have the enrollment tool right there, so the ability to complete or start that cyber assessment. It's all built right into the dashboard. Click of a button, 2 or 3 clicks once you're logged in and you're ready to start completing that for your customers. You can pull organizations in or existing customers right from your CRM. This is going to keep tabs on everything that's happening there. We also then have a social media suite. So these are, again, those really powerful broker tools that are available. On Facebook, we have paid and free templates that you can utilize to drive, that cyber assessment questionnaire. We want to get more and more businesses, obviously, filling out that comprehensive free cyber assessment. Let's find out where those gaps are, what exposure they have, what it would cost to actually, kind of bundle that up and proactively prevent those cyber risks or mitigate that cyber risk. We have Instagram, LinkedIn tools. Obviously, LinkedIn's a great way to reach out to people. Some templates, some tools out there. We also have content collateral like presentations today, things like that you can get out to market with, as well as some YouTube content and some other content that's coming as well, including some live streams and some other footage and feeds that are out there that just talk very broad and general about this new landscape of cybersecurity. We also have, links, banners, digital content, just about anything you can imagine to help you get out in front of your customers, your network. And then we do leverage a lot of bulk communication. So talking about kind of this first point, I won't go too deep on it. It's kind of that idea of getting paid to prospect, right? If you have the ability to go out to market with a solution that's non-insurance, and in this case, that would be that comprehensive cyber assessment. Get out in your community, post this to your social media, talk to business owners get into these organizations that you're affiliated with, go back out there and get them to complete that cyber risk assessment. Once they do that, they have that opportunity to implement, fill those gaps in their underwriting requirements, buy that coverage that they need from a cybersecurity standpoint, and you're getting paid for that referral to purchase those security tools. So again, that's kind of that IT, that security component. You're getting paid for that. You're getting paid to prospect for your insurance clients. Once they purchase that, they're now eligible for guaranteed cyber liability coverage. So this, again, could not be a better solution, better place to be in. Your existing policyholders, this should be, again, kind of those light bulb moments going off for some of you. You may have lots of customers that fit the bill for this, and you should be thinking about getting out to them and talking to them about this cyber risk assessment right away. Let alone anybody you have on a commercial or general liability policy that may have one of those outdated or those old riders. This may be a perfect time to swoop in, provide a sought-after solution, and let them know, hey, maybe that rider isn't going to be the best thing for your business. I understand this is a risk you're concerned about, or I understand you've been seeing in the news all these breaches. I want to come to you as your risk advisor and help you with this. I want to provide next generation risk management for you. So the existing policyholders are kind of that, low-hanging fruit that should be really easy to get out to. And then, of course, there's a lot of niche markets that this is naturally a perfect fit for. So we want to help you engage in those niche markets. We have some dedicated, customized marketing material coming for those spaces as well. And we're going to continue to work with you on getting out there and getting in front of those specific, real niche industries. With that said, I just want to thank everybody for being on the call today. I'm going to go ahead and launch a quick survey here. If you just take a quick moment and fill it out, it'll take 15, 20 seconds to complete. It's just a handful of questions. Lets us know who your background is, where you're coming from, what value you took from the presentation today, and obviously, whether or not this is going to be a good fit for you, and also just lets us know how we did. So if you'd like to get set up with us, if you're not already, you'll visit retireco.com/professionals. That'll give you instant free access to this solution, to this system, to our entire RetireCo dashboard. If you're already an existing RetireCo agent, you just go into your dashboard, slide over to the left folder structure, you'll see Biz Tools, go all the way to the bottom, you'll see those Biz Tools and those systems. You'll find antigen security and everything you need to get started, to start selling, complete those cyber assessments, download the marketing materials, everything you need to do to engage with us. So with that, again, I want to thank all of you. Thank you, Stephen, if you have anything to add as well.
The only thing I wanted to add was a shout out to folks that have customers or are regulated by the SEC. If you didn't see the new reporting requirements on the 3rd of this month that just went into place, talk to Matt or our friends at RetireCo about what you can do to get SEC compliant for those disclosure requirements around cyber risk and cyber breaches.
100%. And as it looks right now, that is going to kick in for businesses of just about every size over the course of the next 6 months. So again, this is hot topic. It is going to be in the news. This is major media. And again, that's always a great opportunity for you to get out to your customers, because it's something they're probably hearing a little bit about already. And you can really deliver, again, a sought after solution and be the first to deliver that solution. So again, I just want to thank everybody for your time. Have a great rest of the week. Have a fantastic weekend. Appreciate those of you filling out our survey. I see that popping up right now. If you'll just take, 20, 30 seconds and fill that out for us, it'd be super, super helpful. Very much appreciated. And again, thanks for being a part of RetireCo. Thanks for your time. Have a great weekend, everyone.